Hey guys, it's Mike. This is like my 17th try at this video because my roommates are being a real pain in the patoot today. Or should I say housemates, they rent from me. Um, Today is Saturday, and I'm trying to do the Saturday Slashback Challenge for my friend Joe over at the HORRORman. Each week, Joe gives us a new challenge, a new topic to investigate and find movies. And normally I have a pretty fun time during the week trying to find a movie that I want to talk about. Sometimes I take the cheap way out and just do a movie that's pretty popular with people and everybody knows. It's just kind of, by the time Saturday gets here, I'm usually burnt. So, so putting too much extra into finding a movie that fits the challenge can be challenging for me. This week's challenge was Halloween slashers. So of course, the first thing I thought of was Halloween. I mean, there's 47 movies to pick from. Then I thought, oh, I need to be a little creative. So I'm going through and I'm trying to find what in my movie is. It has to be Halloween. It can't be fall. It has to be Halloween. So I'm trying to figure out, and what haven't I talked about in the past, and is there anything out there that I don't have that maybe I can watch on Shudder? And by the time this work week was over, I was done. 400 video online meetings through either Microsoft Teams or GoToMeetings or GoToWebinars. I'm done. Toast. Sorry. So I went the easy route this time, and I'm going to talk about a movie in the Halloween series. It will not be any Rob Zombie movies, just so you know, because I don't own them. Don't like them. I'm glad people do, because, it's Halloween. But the one I'm going to talk about, most people don't like either. It's actually probably in my top 2 favorites Halloween movies made, and that is Resurrection. No. No, that is at the bottom of the pile. If it would not have been a part of the original franchise, I probably would not own it. But I do watch it once in a while. I kind of like the lead girl in it, and I kind of like the fact that it was a little bit ahead of its time with the whole helping through video chat or whatever. I mean, let's face it, that was not really that big of a thing back when the movie was made. So they tried, but then they cast some of the other people that they cast. All right. So the one I am going to talk about also does not always get a lot of love, but it gets a lot of love from me because it really brought the franchise back to life, at least for this one movie. After Part 6 was such a stinker at the box office, we didn't know if we were going to get another Halloween. And to be quite honest with you, Part 6 was everybody's least favorite for a long time when I was younger. Of course, y'all punks out there who are in your 30s and 20s and weren't around at the time when these movies were being put out, you don't understand how bad that movie did at the box office and how much hate it got at the time. But this one brought everything back, and that is H2O. This was kind of a rebirth not only for the movie but also for Jamie Lee Curtis, because her career had kind of waned quite a bit at this point. So she came back for this movie after a lot of persuasion, because she's tried to distance herself from being the Scream Queen. And this movie was a different movie. First of all, she wasn't Laurie Strode in this movie. She had assumed a different identity. She didn't have a daughter in this movie. There was never a daughter discussed. There was really no discussion of Haddonfield whatsoever, and there was no Loomis. She didn't have that ally in this movie at all. So there were some major differences in this movie, but at the time, they needed different. Um, Halloween had kind of run its course, and Loomis had kind of, that whole character, and of course, our wonderful Loomis had passed away at this point. But this movie is a lot of fun. I loved it. I saw it at the theater probably 4 times. And I drug some of my friends who are not horror movie people with me. So we have Jamie Lee. She is at the college that she is the administrator of, I guess is what what she's supposed to be. And then she has a son who's played by Josh Hartnett, and he has a girlfriend, and then there are 2 friends of a female and a male that are friends with Josh and his girlfriend. And they're at this college, and you can tell that Jamie Lee is having issues because she starts seeing, she'll see things, she'll see Michael, but she, of course he disappears, and then she's got vodka in the freezer, and so yeah, and she also has a love interest in this movie. And then we have LL Cool J, who plays the campus security guy. And he's kind of the comedy relief. He's trying to write a love story or a romance novel or whatever. So he's kind of silly and funny. But I liked his character. So like I said, everything from part 2 is gone, or from part 3 on is gone. There's no daughter. There's no Jamie. There's no really Lori. And we don't hear anything about the doctor or about Haddonfield. What we do hear about is the fact that Jamie is trying to keep her son as straight-laced as possible. She is like super protective of him, and of course he's a teenage boy, so he's done. He wants to go out and be a teenage boy, and so they're coming up to a break, fall break, and the majority of the students are going on a big camping trip, a big, where they're going to do some boating or whatever. However, the 2 girlfriends can't go. And lo and behold, Josh Hartnett does not get on the bus, even though there's a big battle and he wants to go. And Jamie Lee finally gives in and lets him go. He doesn't go. And then guess who shows up at the campus? Well, it's little Michael. Yeah. And he, of course, creates typical Michael chaos. So Josh Hartnett character, he knows about Michael, but he doesn't believe that Michael's still alive, even though Jamie does. And then things start happening at the college, and of course, typical power goes out, all that good stuff, and then he starts picking people off. Probably the most gruesome death in this movie is to the girlfriend of their friend. Oh God, I can't think of her name. Jodie Lynn O'Keefe is her real name. She was in the TV show with Don Johnson. She was his daughter. Really cute girl. But yeah, Michael brutalizes her, and Josh Hartnett and his girlfriend, who's Michelle Williams, who is huge. She was in Brokeback Mountain and all, tons of movies and nominations. And they find Jamie Lynn's character hanging up in a closet with a big hole in the middle of her with the light flashing on and off. That scene still resonates with me to this day. And then, of course, it goes on, and they're running from him, and he's stalking them, and he's doing his typical Michael craziness. And then we get the final showdown, because Jamie doesn't believe he's dead. She knows him too well. Or not Jamie, Lori. So she takes the ambulance with his body, and there's a big crash, and there's an awesome ending. And that is where this franchise should have ended. But yeah, I like this movie. I will always like this movie. Yes, it kind of pissed a lot of people off because of all the things that were missing from it. Um, but I didn't care. I would rather have something like this than the god awful Rob Zombie that adds a whole lot that we didn't need. But yeah, that's my entry for Halloween Slashers, one of my favorite Halloween movies. I watch it every year. I watch 1, 2, 3. I know a lot of people don't like 3. I love 3, but I like you guys. I don't necessarily consider that a Halloween movie. It's a Halloween movie. It was this great idea that they had to have like a series of different types of scary Halloween stories based on the name. That's why it was Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. It wasn't Halloween 3 Michael Comes Back to Get You. So yeah, this is probably one that I watch. This is one that I watch every year, and sometimes I watch it a couple times a year. So, all right, Joe, hope this was okay. Talk to y'all later. Have a good one. Bye.